Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this late afternoon webinar session. But I'm sure that everyone has had a good day so far in lockdown, wherever you may be. We are joined today by a couple of our tutors that's going to share some of their tips and tricks on getting through the lockdown and assisting their students. We are having some technical issues in some areas, it seems, so not all of the tutors will be able to join us, but we've received fantastic slides and hopefully I'll do them justice by going through them and assisting. So just before we start, please ensure that your audio is turned up and that your volume is on a level that you can hear us properly. You can also make use of the control panel. For those of you who've been attending our webinars or already know how this works. For first timers, just a quick recap. So first of all, if you can't hear, then please check your audio settings. You are on mute, so don't let that confuse you. From our side, we place you on mute, and if you want to ask a question, you raise your hand, then we do unmute you. But you've been muted from our side. That does not influence your audio settings. You've got to check your own audio settings to make sure that you are hearing properly. While we're on audio settings, you will see that in the control panel, there's an area where you actually see you've been muted. But there's also a place where you can raise your hand. So you're more than welcome to now raise your hand and let us know that you are here. And I am joined by Marietha and Rihanna. Many of you know Rihanna, many of you know Marietha from all of our webinars. They are assisting today on the technical end of things. And so they will just help mute, unmute, help take down hands when necessary. We are giving it a few more moments. I see Angelique and Aniki and Cedric. There's lots of hands going up. Corina, Dalian, fantastic. This gives us a wonderful idea of who's joined us. And Janet has raised her hand. Jocelyn, oh, there's many hands going up. Fantastic. So at least I know you've found your hands and you'll be able to assist. Like I've mentioned, Rihanna has also joined us, so don't be afraid of posting your question in the question box that you will also find on the right-hand section of your screen. That question box, once you post a question there, we'll either try and answer it live or we'll type an answer for you. Marietha is also assisting in that end. I will give opportunities for you to ask some questions further towards the end. And as we go through some of the slides, I'll just ask for those tutors who's assisting with the presentation today to just raise your hand so that I can see your name and your hand right next to your name when I mention your name, so that I can unmute you and you can continue your presentation and I'll handle the slides from my end. But like I've mentioned, unfortunately, some of our tutors are experiencing technical difficulties and can't join us. So when I jump into those slides, I'll present on their behalf if they haven't been able to join. Marietha has also made the slides for today available as handouts. So you're welcome to download those, and hopefully this will give you a few more ideas of how you can assist learners during this time. So just for full disclosure, before we begin, the webinar is intended to supply ideas from tutors making use of Impact's products and services and how to support learners. All attendees, including the presenters, will be muted by myself, and I will also unmute you during the Q&A. So the attendee asking questions will be unmuted, so don't worry too much if you're muted at the moment. We ask all of the presenters to keep their presentation short and to the point. We don't want to keep you busy the whole evening. And the questions will be handled once the presenters have ended their presentations. The presentation is available for download in the handout section on your right-hand side. Go back side for you. And please note that these are all suggestions from our fellow tutors. So it's not necessarily endorsed or managed or even promoted by us, as some of these platforms that's mentioned do have a cost associated. Some of the platforms that's mentioned has a free section or free area, like for example Zoom, but we'll get into that. For example, there you only have 40 minutes of presentation time, but if any one of you can get a kid to sit still in front of a computer for 40 minutes while you're presenting a class topic, then kudos to you already. So tutors remain independent, so we're not necessarily endorsing these, but we've had an overload of tutors contacting us since the lockdown, asking us, what are other tutors doing? What can I do to support my learners? They can't get to class. How am I going to deal with this situation? So hopefully today we'll give you some advice and some tips and tricks. So just from Unpack's side, what we are currently doing, and some of these things we've had as plans for the remainder of the year. A lot of it had to be brought forward, and a lot of it was us trying to think on our feet and trying to figure out ways of doing things differently. So we're actually figuring out stuff as we go as well. So we're in this boat with you. We currently host daily academic and subject-specific webinars for grade 10 to 12. I've posted the link on there so that you can just refer to that link for all of the sessions that's presented. We try and update these on a weekly basis. Sometimes we can do it a little bit further ahead, but any grade 10 to 12 webinar that we are hosting will be posted on that link, and you can encourage all of your students to register for those free webinar sessions. It's very much in the same format as the one that we're presenting today. So this already gives you a good feel of what a presentation like this is all about. We make use of a proprietary platform called GoToWebinar, which is actually quite a bit of an expensive product to make use of. So that's why we're not going to go into too much detail in terms of GoToWebinar. But you are more than welcome to contact Marietha regarding this. She'll send you all of the contact details and you can find out pricing and everything. It's also an online platform. It has some limitations. For example, in our setup at the moment, we're not able to do 2 webinars at the same time, for example. And this is why when we do our great economics webinar, for example, we can't be running accounting side by side in the same time slot. So there are some limitations as well, but you're welcome to drop Marietha an email and she'll give you some background in terms of this webinar. But what does make this webinar really fun is that it is completely interactive. When we start with the question section and people can put up their hands and ask questions, that's where the real magic comes in. So just to get back to the academic webinars that we do, it's presented in either English or Afrikaans, some sessions where the academics team said that they are comfortable to present it in dual language, where some of the terminology is very easy to interchange. They actually do it in a dual language, and that is due to capacity issues. And like I said, we can't be doing too many webinars at one time. We only have a limited number of academic staff. It's not entirely a school of 120 teachers, but they are there to help. The schedule is updated weekly. We are at the moment investigating options for grade 4 to 9 webinars. There has been so many requests for this. We are not going to make any promises at the moment, and if we do start, it might go from grade 9 and grade 8. But we want to continue with these and we want to add more, so we'll try and do these. Today we had 3 foundation phase webinars. I hope that some of you actually enjoyed it, and because I did notice the name of 2, so we just decided to stay on the webinar for the remainder of the day. This is the link where the webinar videos can be viewed. So if one of your learners has missed a webinar, they can go to this link. It's our YouTube channel and they can download that. You are more than welcome to send this YouTube channel to any one of your students. They're welcome to access it, to view those webinars, and perhaps get some assistance from it. Then our guided learning platform. I know that there is at the moment a message that says that it's under maintenance. It is true, it's under maintenance, but it's going to continue being under maintenance for a very long time. For the main reason that guided learning in many respects is almost a beta version. We keep on adding features. We keep on adding content. We're going to keep on working on guided learning as a platform, because for us that is a big focus area this year, to add as much content and as much assistance to that platform as we can. At the moment, it is mainly focused on grade 10 to 12 learners, and I've listed the subjects and the subject areas that we know are covered at the moment. But like I said, they add on daily in terms of this. Do keep in mind that we're not charging any additional fees for guided learning, and guided learning isn't there to replace the facilitators' guides at all at the moment. Guided learning is a supplementary add-on, and we're also trying to streamline some of our processes through guided learning. So there's big plans in terms of guided learning, and these are basically the first steps towards that overall program that we would like to bring to you in future. I know that one of the questions that often pop up is, when will tutors have access to this? We are planning to provide access as soon as we can. It was actually scheduled for April this year. Unfortunately, it has been moved on a little bit as some other priorities that crept up in terms of the capacity issues with dealing with the COVID-19 lockdown. We've also made our tutors available in real time daily from 8 until 1 through the guided learning platform for the subjects listed. So whenever the student is on the platform, they can easily just drop a question to the tutor. And I've also posted the academics impact link there with an email address, which you can send an email to, whether you're a tutor, whether you're a learner, to get assistance from our academic team. Our Kami web is also launched. Rihanna would be able to provide a lot more information in terms of our Kami web. Many of you know Kami Edu-Suite and the offline Kami program, but Kami web is now a fully web-based platform which can be accessed from anywhere. It works on a Google Chrome browser. We do mention that it works on phones, but it's not an ideal platform to use on your phone. There's a tutor and learner dashboard to track performance, which is really great. It's available in Afrikaans and English, and it focuses on maths grade R to 7 at the moment, perceptual skills for grade R to 3, and then there's also multiple subjects through the interface. It's capsulized and it supports adaptive learning, and it's ideal for the creation of assignments. So for tutors using it for that kind of platform, it also makes it ideal. There's also an administrative management of licenses built in. You can download the handouts, get more information, but today is not about Kami web. It is about tutoring in the time of COVID-19 lockdown. So I'll start off by just first finding out whether Patricia has been able to join us. So let's just quickly see. Patricia, if you have joined us, then I can quickly just put up your hand. Otherwise, I'll just continue.
Hi, I have joined you.
Oh, fantastic. Hi, Patricia. Welcome. So I'll jump into your slide, and then you can take us through it. Thank you for sharing your ideas.
Okay, right, we're all in the same position, I think, and I think we all try our best to assist our learners to, as I said in my slogan, is basically let's save the year. So what we have to do here is just to make sure that we keep up communication with the parents and the students, and make sure that they are up to date with what is happening, what you're doing to assist them, making sure that they have all the tasks that they can complete. Luckily, most of my students actually took their textbooks home with them at the end of the year. But for the, not the end of the year, end of the term, sorry, it feels like it's been a whole year already, the end of the term. And for those ones that we that did not take their books, we actually take photos of the textbooks and we WhatsApp it to them or we mail it to them. I also do Zoom time with the learners. So what I've done is I've set up a timetable and I've allocated specific times for specific subjects. Now, obviously, we can't do all the subjects for all the students, but what we have done is we've got a few specialist subjects that we do at our center, which is maths, physical science, life sciences. So we're actually doing that every day, and then we have like a general query set up that the students WhatsApps us beforehand and says, I'm battling with consumers or with CAT or with English or Afrikaans, and then we assist them in that. So we're doing the same as what we're basically doing in the center when we're not in lockdown, by facilitating all the subjects and then specializing in a few. So they have all their tests that they wrote in March, the ones that they actually wrote. The ones they haven't wrote, obviously they haven't got. And then also we discussed all those tests. We worked through all the first term work that they needed to do, and now we're just working through the second term. So it's important, I think, to make sure that the students and the parents are on top of whatever you're doing, and that you're following the curriculum and making sure that the student is actually working at home. And I think when the lockdown is lifted, whenever that may be, we can just carry on as if nothing happened before. And that's my side of doing things.
Fantastic, thank you, Patricia. There's also that second slide that everyone can read through. And then Cecilia, has Cecilia been able to join us? Okay, so let me go through. Cecilia is also making use of Zoom classes during these sessions. They share their documents and they do presentations, and they do it where learners can follow and hear what is said. And they cover this for grade 1 to grade 12. So what was interesting from this conversation is that the little ones can actually also join these sessions. They schedule their sessions per request. So the parents will send in a request or send in a date that they actually schedule sessions with Cura parent, and then they deal with that via Zoom classes. And I know William has joined us. So William, I'm going to unmute you so that you can do your own presentation. There we go. Hi, William.
Goeiemiddag julle. Man, ek is Untitled Sandilands van Betlechem Sentrum. Ek het 2 leerlinge by my, ADD en hulle dysleksies. Dit wil sê ek moet vir hulle lewendige klasse aanbied. My klaskamer is so opgestel met die cam dat ek wel die klasse kan aanbied lewendig. En dat ek kan vra soos ons aangaan. Ek nooi enigiemand uit om saam met ons weer te gaan. Ek is op click meeting. My enigste probleem wat ons het is die selfone wil nie so lekker op die webinar werk nie. Ek dink dit ek dink ek het dit alles in die net op vasgevat daar.
Thank you, William. Perhaps just quickly for our English attendees. So you can see on the screen, it was Andre speaking, sorry, that Andre, because they already have learners that have special needs, they find click meeting and big screens as very useful in their classrooms. So they make use of a program called Click Meeting Webinar, where you rent space per month, and they are in need of users. So if you are finding capacity, either yourself or within your team, then do be in contact with William. On the previous slide is his contact details, and maybe you can work together on that. Then has Stephen been able to join us? perhaps Johanna can just give up, or Marietha can give me a heads up on that. Just want to see. Stephen Barnard, unfortunately, Stephen seems to be, oh, let me just see. Stephen, are you there? I see Stephen is offline. There might be some technical issues there. Stephen, if you do come back online, or if you can unmute yourself at some point, then especially at the end of the session, we will allow some questions. But I found this really interesting. Stephen is from the Village Edu-Centre in the Willows, and they've created the Farmer Kids 21-day program for their farmer kids, their families and their friends, especially for this 21-day, which now turns into 35-day lockdown period, where we all are wishing to be on a farm rather. And they upload Farmer Kids training videos every day, which helps, which enables you with the skills to build your own micro-vegetable farm. A micro-vegetable farm not only is that in at the moment.
Hello.
Steve, are you there?
Yes, I've been trying to get through to you. I've been watching your lovely face, but talking, but not getting in. This is my first time around, so I haven't quite understood, how this thing works, but now I'm in. Can you hear me?
No problem at all. We can clearly hear you. I started a bit with your presentation, but please continue.
I've been hearing you. You've done very well. You get 5 out of 5 for marketing. Can I carry on and give a bit of background?
Yes,
Hello?
please do. Yes, please do.
The Village Edu-Centre is a new venture which we are busy with. It actually comes from the realization that we're sitting with a crisis in the country, that we are running out of farmers and we're running out of food. I mean, if you look at what's happening in the country right now, there's a major shortage of food, and I think things are going to actually explode over the next couple of weeks because of all of the unemployed people not having food. So we have been busy with the Farmer Kids and Garden of Life program over the last 12 years, where we have been teaching community members and school children how to grow their own vegetables. And coming from that, we decided that maybe it's time that we start bringing farming, agricultural processing in as a subject in school, but using this as a mechanism so that when the children are still in school, they can start with their own production units. So it's actually been quite amazing the way the coronavirus has been a promotion for us, because it's just proven the point that we've got to start becoming producers. We can't be consumers anymore. So we have now become part of the impact team. Unfortunately, with the lockdown, we have not been able to get to all of the people that we had to, but we hope to get going by June. Our target date was the 1st of May, but it's now been shifted to June, whereby we're going to spend 3 to 4 days doing education using the impact curriculum, and then we're going to spend 1 to 2 days teaching the children the basics of farming, agricultural processing, and then what we call living skills. In other words, how do you put a plug on a wire? How do you fix something that's broken? What is first aid? All of those subjects that we used to do with Boy Scouts, etc., we're now going to bring into the school curriculum as well. So we're very excited about what lies ahead, and I've had a lot of support from the rural areas where the chiefs and the kings of the different cultures that I've been working with have all said, please come and work with us. So that in a nutshell is what we're all about. We've now created the 21-day program, whereby we're sending out our material free of charge. So you're all welcome to lock into that YouTube channel, which you see on the screen there. and you can download our programs. So I hope we enjoy it, and let's all get farming.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Stephen. That's really innovative. So it's always amazing to see how during testing times people actually come up with really innovative ideas. Has Casey been able to join us? There we go, Casey. I'm just going to unmute you. Hi, Casey. You are unmuted. Let's just give it a moment. I see there has been a couple of hands that's gone up. We will definitely, towards the end of the session, give ample time for questions to be asked, for some of our presenters to also answer some of your questions. So we will definitely get to a bit of a Q&A as well. Let's just see. Casey, you are muted on your side. Like with Stephen's presentation, there we go. Fantastic. Now it's got it. Casey, welcome. Your slides are there.
Okay, so we've been using a mixture of Flipgrid and Google Classroom to stay in touch with our students. Flipgrid works best with younger students because it's a video platform. So you post a video talking about a topic, and then they post a video talking back to you about the same topic. It's great. It's a free for thing. They can all put it on their phones. I mean, they've all got their smartphones, so they can shove it on their phones, and it's great for class discussions, and especially for oral preparation. So obviously they've got orals this term, your grade 10s and 11s and whatever. They've got to prepare speeches and stuff. It allows them to film themselves doing the speech, send it to you. You can give them pointers, say to them, you weren't so clear on this. Maybe you should think about it a little bit more before you actually do the final oral. So that's really, really great in terms of that. And then Google Classroom obviously is a really, really great platform because it's a combination of, you've got so many tools on Classroom. You can make slideshows, you can upload documents, and you can make it, before you post them, you can ensure that each student has a copy of whatever they're doing. You can see what they're talking about. You get real-time feedback from them as soon as they fill in a form or they submit something. It comes straight back to you. You can mark it immediately online. So we invite all the kids. You can decide which kids get to see which subjects or which tasks or which whatever the case is. And then obviously, if you look at this one, the purple ones on this photo are the ones that the kids could see at that time, and the gray ones are the ones that are still drafts on our side, so they don't even show up for the children. But the moment you schedule them or you post them or assign them, the kids then can see it from their side. So especially with the poems and the literature for the grade 10s and 11s, I'm finding that it's really important that they keep up to date with that. So that's one of the things that we're definitely doing a lot of there. And you can post materials, assignments, quizzes, questions, whatever the case is. And it really, really, really is so easy. And you can link YouTube videos into it. It's a lot of work to do it because obviously you have to create some of the stuff yourself and put it up yourself. But if anyone wants to, I can invite you to ours so you can have a look around and see. If you just send me your details, I will do that, and you can have a look and see what we've done, and then see how you feel about it.
Thank you for that. I really do think it's a fantastic idea to join some of these sessions beforehand and to get a feel of what is going to work for you. So Casey, thank you for that invite to the tutors. I am pretty sure that some people will definitely take you up on it. Marietha, I see that you have been able to join us. Very excited about that. So I'm just finding your name quickly and then I'll unmute you again. Marietha, I see that you are still muted on your side. So if you can just perhaps unmute yourself. There we go. Hi, Marietha. You are welcome to go ahead. Seems like we're struggling to hear Marietha, but I know Marietha will also be here to help answer some of the questions. So we just wanted to highlight from Marietha's side that the tutors in Mpumalanga started a WhatsApp group where they share videos, links, documents and lessons. And we've actually become aware of a number of tutors that do share materials in this way and really do assist each other. So typically of a forum like this, where there's so many tutors with such amazing ideas, where you can share these with each other, share sessions where people can attend your sessions, then it really helps everyone at the end of the day to help learners to better excel. So thank you, Marietha, also for your contribution to this presentation. So that's brought us to the end of the presentation, and I'm very excited to take some questions. So you are welcome to raise your hand, and then I'll unmute you, and you're welcome then to ask your question. If the question is directed at Impact, please just say, Impact, this is for you. If it's directed at any one of our presenters, then please just tell us either the presenter's name or the presentation where it was about, and then we'll handle that from that point of view. Surya, I see that you have your hand raised. You're welcome to ask your question.
Oh, sorry, I see my hand is raised. I actually did have a question for Impact. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Right. I've been struggling to access my my grade 10 learners electronic books. Now, I did receive an email saying that the books will be available, but I have not received anything yet today.
So Surya, what happened with the grade 10 to grade 12 learners? The grade 10 to 12 learners, we do not publish that material. That material is published by external publishers. So we don't own the copyright there and can't just make it readily available to anyone, unfortunately. So what we have done during this time of lockdown, if a student registered during lockdown or for some reason or the other, there's a reason why that student does not have access to their books. We've received permission from the publisher to make ebooks available for the lockdown period free of charge to the particular learner that needs or requires that material. What we need to provide as proof, though, is for every book that we make available electronically, we need to provide proof that that book was purchased by that particular individual for the publisher to give us permission to make it available. So I know that there has been many requests in terms of this, but the big reason here is that we don't own that content. In the past, there were some books that was made available in the FET phase, but unfortunately the uptake was so small, and I know this is now different times, but unfortunately for that reason, and in the ebook space, it's a numbers game, it wasn't made available again to us. So we are in continuous talks with the publishers to find ways. In the meantime, on ITSI, which is a sister company of ours, as well as Snaplify, both those ebook distributors have made available ebooks free of charge through their distribution platforms, and the publishers choose to rather make use of those kind of platforms because they are distribution channels. So they are very conscious of their proprietary content during this time. So if your learners does not have access to their books in this period, you contact us. Or if you've purchased a study guide in the FET phase where we can assist with that as an ebook and you don't have access to it at the moment for some reason or the other, then we can assist, but we can't, unfortunately, not assist with books that's not been purchased. I do hope that so anything from grade 4 to grade 9, that is where we own the content. And as Impact, as publisher, we can then just make those available. So that we have been making available. If anyone still does not have access, they're more than welcome to contact their TRA and we'll assist with the content that we own. But that's only for grade 9 and lower.
Yes, thank you very much.
Pleasure. Let's see, are there any more hands that's to be raised? Rebecca, I see your hand is raised, so I'll unmute you. You're welcome to ask your question, Rebecca.
Thank you. Can anybody perhaps give me advice on how to support learners who do not have internet access?
I'm not sure if one of the presenters perhaps wants to take this question. A presenter can just unmute yourself if you want to answer this question. Perhaps you've got a good idea. But what I'll do in the meantime is perhaps answer it from where my point of view at the moment. My son is a grade 9 learner and he's in a mainstream school. And many of his friends actually don't have access, and they've been sending each other WhatsApps because they've continued studying via Microsoft Teams, which is obviously another platform that can be used. So they've started making use of WhatsApp and send each other advice via WhatsApp, or if the teacher posted something that they need to be aware of. So they make use of their normal learners books and they communicate via WhatsApp. So because even though the kids don't have full internet access, they can't perhaps make use of a Zoom platform, WhatsApp has been, for some reason or the others, the kids do get data for their WhatsApp functions. So bombard those.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Do we have any other questions perhaps? We have a little bit of time still, so you're more than welcome to ask a question. Miriam, I see you've got your hand raised. Miriam, you're welcome to ask your question.
Good evening. Hope everyone is well.
Hi, Miriam.
Thank you. I'd just like to inquire regarding the June exams. Will they be released on the specified dates, or are they going to be withheld for a little while longer? And also regarding the e-books, can I ask the second question one time also?
Sure.
Regarding the e-books for grade 7, the natural science textbook is not an impact book. Is that one also available now on the e-books?
Okay, so I'll let me answer the ebook question quickly first. So that one is now available as an ebook, but it's also, since it's an outside publisher, the same rule applies. So if the learner does not have access to their book during this lockdown period, for whatever the reason, then we can make it available to that particular learner as an ebook for the moment. But yes, it's an outside publication, so we can unfortunately not make that available to the tutor, unless you have purchased the book yourself as a physical copy and don't have access to it at the moment. In terms of the June examinations, we unfortunately do not have an answer yet. So we need to take direction from Sakai in terms of this. For grade 10 to 12, Sakai is the assessment body, makes decisions on examinations. Up until this moment, they are still saying that because it's a distance learning institution, Umalusi, who oversees the entire National Senior Certificate, as with mainstream schools and IEB, Umalusi sees this as distance education, so technically it should be able to go ahead. But we've been working very hard in terms of the compliance process. By now, all of you should have received the invigilator forms to apply to be an invigilator, and the links for the little test that will be conducted will also be forwarded soon. But you have to apply to become an invigilator, and that was part of the whole compliance process, something that Umalusi feels extremely serious about. So obviously, if they have the viewpoint that the examination should continue because it's distance learning, then we need to answer the question regarding compliance, because the kids then would need to be invigilated at home. So we are a little bit stuck between a rock and a hard place at this stage. What I can tell you is that the 5th of May, that was the initial starting date, was already postponed to the 12th of May, and we're definitely looking at extending it even further.
we are having various conversations with Sakai regarding what is happening with mainstream schools. If mainstream schools will be writing examinations, then we might have to look at writing exams too. If the mainstream schools decides to not do June examinations any further, then obviously that is something that we would consider. But like I've said, it's all speculations at the moment still.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, Miriam. I see another hand. Monique de Klerk, I see your hand is raised. You are unmuted. You're welcome to ask your question, Monique. Monique, you're welcome to ask your question. Okay, I see. Hi, Monique. Otherwise, Monique, you're also welcome to type your question. We'll get to the typed questions in a moment as well. Tasneen, I'm going to unmute you. Tasneen, you're welcome to ask your question.
Hi, I just like to find out regarding access to for foundation-based tutors for learners. It's a Marietha app. There's all the facilitated guides. Learners books are not available.
Okay, so Tasneem, this is a very good example of where we do own the content and we've now made it available. So if you need access to that, please just send your TRA an email, because even though it's not a great experience to have a learner's book in the foundation phase on an electronic format. So that's why we don't sell it as part of the package. But we've made it available through our sisters company, ITSI, free of charge for the lockdown period. So even though it's not a great experience, and I warn that up front, it is available digitally at the moment.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Pleasure. Let's see if there's another question. I'm looking for hands. Ah, there I see 2 hands. Michelle Vincent, I've unmuted you.
Hi there. What I want to find out is that in guided learning, a lot of our students are having difficulty in actually logging in. Is there a reason for this?
I'm not sure why they would have difficulty logging in. What we have picked up in cases where, because their ID number and the student number is used, that in some instances the wrong ID number is on our system, which does make it difficult. But they're welcome to send an email to info@impact.co.za, and the consultant will definitely look at that, reset their passwords, and get them set on guided learning. So they're just welcome to drop us an email. Okay.
Excellent, because we need it for our matrics. So yeah.
Absolutely, and there's lots of resources loaded for the matrics already. So definitely, please have an email.
Thank you. So can we send the email, or does the student need to send the email?
You're welcome to do it from your side, and then we've got a list, and we'll contact each one of those kids individually and find out what the problem would be on their side.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Michelle. Monique, I see your hand is raised. You're welcome to ask your question, Monique. You are unmuted. Monique, I think you might be battling a little bit with on your end. So I'm going to continue to someone else. I see Magda van der Merwe, your hand is also raised. Magda, you're welcome to ask your question.
The foundation phase webinar, we didn't get notice of it. We weren't familiar that there was a webinar this morning.
Oh my goodness, that is a pity.
And we can't find it on YouTube as well. I've tried, I went in now, it's not available. It's only grade 10 to 12 stuff.
Yes, so it's not available yet because all 3 took place today. So I know that Marietha always uploads it after the webinars has been conducted. It's been a busy webinar day, so she's got a lot to upload. So I'm pretty sure it'll be available tomorrow sometime, Magda. But it will be available. You're welcome to go and have a look at the YouTube channel.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, Susan. Yes, so we will be uploading the webinars tomorrow. So it's usually within a day or two that they will be available on the YouTube channel.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you. Kerry, I'm unmuting you, Kerry.
Hi, good evening. How are you?
Good, and you?
Very well, thank you. I just wanted to ask you, with regards to the students taking CAT computers this year, is there any way that Impact could possibly upload the discs to the platform where the kids can then access their modules via the platform instead of their discs? Because I know that some computers, they don't allow or they don't have CD-ROMs to accommodate the discs. Is it at all possible that that could be uploaded to Impact where the kids could access them?
Kerry, I'll take this to our team tomorrow, and I'll ask if that can be done. Will you please just send us an email? You're welcome to send an email to Marietha, just a reminder of that, and that I can give you personal feedback on it. But we'll take it definitely to our development team. But the good news in terms of this is that they are already thinking of at least assisting with this in future. More and more queries are being received for rather to have links. Looking at in future making these available on guided learning as links rather than trying to distribute USBs and CDs.
Yeah, I think it would be better because one of my colleagues actually helped me to upload it to a USB, but of course when the lockdown happened, I didn't have a chance to give all my students all of their things from that disk, and now they keep inquiring, you know, they can't access the CD because they don't have a CD-ROM, etc. So if we could sort that out, that would be a great help. And then another question that I do have, just with regards to the hospitality studies, the girls that have their PATs due 9.1, 9.2, as well as 10.1 and 10.2, they should have been done in term 1 and term 2. What happens now with regards to that? Because we obviously can't get an assessor out to come and assess them. You know, we're all on lockdown. So what happens with regards to those?
So Marietha Smith, who looks after hospitality studies, I know that she has already postponed those dates. She is still accepting, I think, if I'm not mistaken, it might be the 4th of June already. But drop me that in your email as well to Marietha, and then we'll get the official answer from Marietha for you.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Now, we definitely do take into consideration that a lot of learners can't do what they have to do at the moment, especially something like hospitality studies, where it needs to be in front of someone, a proper assessor.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. No, that's perfect. Thank you. I will send through the email shortly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see if there's one more hand. I've just gone over it. Antoinette Pretorius. You are unmuted, Antoinette. You're welcome to ask your question.
Hi, Susan, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, Susan, first of all, I want to thank you for your support and everything. We're going through a tough time with this lockdown, but there's enough support. I just want to know that Mpumalanga WhatsApp group, do you perhaps have a WhatsApp number for us to request that they add us to the group?
Let me on this slide, let me quickly go back to that slide. The first slide there by Marietha du Plessis, Her number is on the screen at the moment. So you can contact Marietha regarding this.
Okay, thanks a million. I really appreciate. I'm going to save the number just now.
Fantastic. Okay, Antoinette.
Okay.
And then I see Eileen McCarthy. I'm going to unmute you now, Eileen. You're welcome to ask your question, Eileen.
Oh dear, I totally forgot that my hand was up. Yeah, I don't have a question. Yeah,
No,
sorry.
I'm happy. And it means we've answered it. Let's see if there's another hand. Annelie van der Westhuizen, you are unmuted. You're welcome to ask your question.
My question is for the farm guy.
Ah, yes.
Stephen, I think.
Yes, Stephen. Let me quickly find Stephen just and unmute Stephen. Stephen, I hope you are still with us. There we go. There we go. Let's unmute. Stephen, you are welcome to Stephen, I can see that you are muted on your side. So I'm going to let the question be asked so long, and then Stephen, you can just unmute yourself. Hopefully, if we can't answer it now, then at least we'll try and get. There we go.
There we
Stephen
go. Yeah.
Okay, please ask your question.
Okay, we've got a grade 10 learner that's got I don't know what's it in English now, but it's landbou.
Praat maar Afrikaans, jong. Ek praat die taal.
Landbou. En hy moet sekere pads doen en hy moet dit na plaas toe vat en al daai. Is dit moontlik dat jy ons kan help? Waar is jy geleë?
Ek is in Pretoria. Ek kan definitief help. Ons help op die oomblik redelik baie mense wat belangstel. Ons het ook is geregistreer by die Agri-Cite NQF level 1. So as die persoon verder bietjie opleiding wil doen, kan ons definitief help. En die hele doel van ons program is waar daar leemte is om die praktiese implementering van mikroboerderye op boerderye op klein skaal te kan doen. Dis presies wat ons doen. Dis presies wat ons doen. So ja, jy kan my skakel op 082
Ja.
651
Ja.
3456. En dan kan ons gesels en vir julle verder help. Maar gaan kyk bietjie op ons YouTube program. Daar's baie interessante programme wat ons elke dag vir die laaste 21 dae sit ons elke dag 'n programmetjie op waar die jong mense en baie van die volwassenes leer ook hoe om hulle eie tuine te bou en om met die verskillende groente te plant.
Okay. Ek sal so maak en dan kan ons dalk net met jou in verbinding tree want soos ek sê daar is sekere pads wat deur die jaar gedoen moet word wat afgeteken moet word deur iemand wat geakkrediteer is vir dit. So ek sal definitief jou nommer hou en dan kan ons net later praat daaroor. Baie dankie.
Ja, geen probleem nie.
Thank you, Annelie and Stephen, for that. Let me see if there's another hand. I see Anel has her hand raised. Anel, you're welcome to ask your question. I see that you are still muted on your side. So there we go. Anel, you're welcome to ask your question.
Hi, I would just like to find out, we've got a few queries regarding the school changes from a big extreme school towards an impact school. Would it be a safe bet for the parents to change them?
Okay, so let me first start by answering the question in this manner. What the parents need to constantly remind themselves of is that there is no such thing like an impact school. Impact does not own schools. So it could either be a school, a registered school with an EMIS number that makes use of Impact's products and services, or it could be a tutor center that also makes use of Impact's products and services. But either one of those institutions or the tutor on their own is completely independent, not owned by Impact. So just to clarify that, because a lot of parents are under the impression If they move to a centre that has the impact curriculum, that they're joining a small kind of school, which is a complete misperception. Parents must never be under that perception. So just to clarify that. In terms of your question, is it a safe bet? Impact's curriculum is aligned to CAPS. Now, there's 3 main assessment bodies in South Africa. The one is the IEB, which is mainly the independent schools. That is overseen by the assessment body, the IEB assessment body. Then it's mainstream schools. They are overseen by the DBE. And then there's Sakai. And Sakai oversees home education institutions, distance education learning, such as Impact. So Impact annually registers with Sakai, and all 3 of these assessment bodies need to report to Umalusi. So the national senior certificate at the end of the day that a grade 12 learner gets is the same Umalusi certificate more an IEP learner will get. So I think that is perhaps the easiest way to answer that question, is that they will still be doing a curriculum that is aligned to mainstream curriculum. In that essence, if the learner is, the big difference is just that within the law from grade 9 downwards, the parent takes the main responsibility. Grade 10, 11 and 12 is no longer seen as compulsory school going ages. So in those phases, it's distance learning. They need to be registered with an examination body. So it's really important that they be registered with a distance education institution such as Impact that is registered with an assessment body. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you.
Okay,
It does,
now,
thanks.
Aniki, I see that your hand is also raised. Aniki Verby, you're welcome to ask your question. Hallo
Hallo,
Aniki.
ek wil net gou weet by watter, as ek nou weer al die slides en goeders wil kyk vir die nommers en so aan, dan gaan ek na die YouTube kanaal toe, nee, of is hier 'n icon, ek het 'n bietjie vergeet, waar ek gou die nommers kan kyk.
So op jou regterkantste paneel, aan die regterkant van jou skerm, there on your right hand side of the screen, there's a tab that says handouts. If you click on the handouts, just the little handouts block, then it opens up and you can see that there's ideas webinar for tutors handout. That is a PDF that you can download immediately and you'll have all of those numbers.
Okay, dankie, ek het dit.
Wonderful. Okay, let's see if there's another 1 or 2 questions before we end off today. Faiza, I'm going to unmute you. You're welcome to ask your question.
Hi, good evening. I have 2 questions. The first is that with regards to the grade 10 hospitality and dramatic arts practicals, we were supposed to get external assessors to come in and assess for this term. Do we just hang on to those tasks now and wait until the lockdown finishes off? Or how does it work for that? And then my second question, just now over the news, they released the news that they would be phase the grades going back into school according to within the next few months. So does that apply to our centres as well with regards to our matriculants? And then do we need to apply for a permit, or how does it work?
So Faiza, unfortunately, we don't have that answers for you yet.
Okay.
We are aware of the dates that's been released, but the dates that's been released are all dates that's being currently discussed with the various unions. So it's only if the lockdown ends on the 30th of April and only if the president decides those are the dates. So it is jumping the gun a little bit. What we can tell you though is that it will definitely be a phased approach. We are working along with Sakai at the moment to try and find out what Sakai's direction would be on this. So Sakai would give us guidance on this. The moment that they release new dates, we'll release it to all of the parents and tutors as well. In terms of permits and those kind of things, unfortunately, we can't speak to that yet. I presume that if it's a case of only certain learners can return, then that would be across the board. They would need to allow all grade 12 learners to get their learning from whatever institutions they make use of. So Faiza, we would just have to hang tight a little bit longer until we have more answers on that.
Okay.
But like I said, we are daily in contact with Sakai to get some answers according to this. I know that Sakai is working at the moment to get a plan together, or should it pan out the way that the DBE is currently envisioning it to happen. Was that the entire question? Did I miss a part now?
Just the grade 10 hospitality.
What I want to suggest to everyone in terms of the PATs and the orals, there will be communication that goes out, if not tomorrow, then by Monday, in terms of the orals and some of the orals and the PATs. We've spoken to Sakai, and a lot of the orals and the PATs, except for some of the listening exercises, we did get permission to do those over Skype or Zoom or whatever online platform you are making use of. Obviously, for something like hospitality studies, agricultural sciences, that would be almost impossible. But for typical orals, that would be a definite opportunity for assessors to make use of that. But my suggestion is send an email to academics@impact.co.za. academics@impact.co.za for any questions related to the PATs and the orals and the dates, because I know that each one of those departments are currently working on different kinds of strategies to assist the learners, and they would definitely be better equipped to answer the question.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure. Gabby, I'm unmuting you. Gabby Dos Santos, you're unmuted. You're welcome to ask your question.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can.
Okay. I understand fully regarding the orals and the PAT, especially for the older grades, the FET phase. My concern is regarding the tests. So I presume with Sakai, they will inform us regarding the June exams. Do you believe that the actual tests, like the literature tests and so forth, will also be rescheduled, or what is your opinion on that?
So Gabby, all of the tests up until grade 11 can still continue. The parents can actually continue with those and mark those and upload the marks. Where it's become compulsory for a stricter timetable is from grade 12. So those subjects that there was only 3 subjects that still needed to be written for the term 1 test. So those 3 we are still looking at rescheduling it and perhaps doing it. But what's quite interesting, and this is all part of all the speculations at the moment. What is quite interesting is that in Impact's history, there's been three different scenarios. Once was with the 2010 World Cup, and then there was another 2 other instances that happened years ago, where they actually had to discard the entire year's marks and only look at the final examination. Now, we all know that that's not great preparation for students, but it has happened in the past. So all of these are ideas that's on the table at the moment to say how many of the tests will actually count towards the final mark, how many of these will purely be to see if the kids are prepared to do their work. But we are going to have to wait for an answer from Sakai to give clear guidance on this.
Okay, so do you suggest if, for instance, the schools do not resume after May, God willingly, I hope they do, but anyway, can we then forward those term 2 tests to the parents, and then they can always forward through to us for marking? Is that possible?
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay. You would definitely be able to do that with the test.
Except not the grade 12.
vaccinations, that is a completely different discussion. But in terms of the tests, yes, it would be possible.
Okay, lovely. Thank you.
Adele, I see your hand is raised. I have unmuted you, Adele. You're welcome to ask your question.
Yes, good evening. I just want to find out, with regards to the books, there's some of our students that did not take all of their books when the initial, everything happened because it was so fast. And there's still books at the center now. So what I want to find out is, will it be possible for Impact to make the books available to those parents on My Reader? Because all of them paid for the books just for this period of the lockdown, because it's difficult for them to get it.
Absolutely. So, like I've explained a little bit earlier, up until grade 9, it's a quick and easy answer because we own the content there, so we can definitely make it available via My Reader for them. They only have to send an email to info@impact.co.za and mention their student number.
Okay.
And then we'll upload it to My Reader. Grade 10 to 12, it's a little bit more difficult as we need to negotiate time and again with the publishers. But in most instances, for learners that does not have access and we can prove that the book was actually purchased, we do get permission to make it available to those learners.
Okay, but what about the NST books? You will then also be made available, although you're not the publishers.
Yeah, same argument there goes, as long as we can prove that the learner has purchased the books, and it normally just takes a day or two, but we need to just get the approval from that particular publisher and it's unfortunately per student, but you're welcome. They still can send it through to us and we'll help them.
Okay, so they will definitely be able to get the access, although, and they will not pay anything, because I phoned earlier today and I've spoken to a lady and she's telling me that they will not be able to get access to the books unless they've paid for the My Reader part.
You're welcome to drop me an email. If you've got the name of that agent, then I can follow up for you. If it's a case where a learner perhaps only purchased the assessment package, so they haven't purchased books, then they actually have to buy the books. So it's not a case of I haven't bought books and now suddenly I get free access. We have to prove that a book has been purchased. So we just might have to look at that particular student's student number to make sure that they have actually, and we have to prove that they've bought the books through Impact.
No, they did bought the books because all of my students bought the books, and I particularly asked her today, will it be possible? So she said to me, no, but if they didn't pay for the package like that and the My Reader, then they cannot have access. So it was quite strange for me because, yeah, I don't.
Okay, so if you do know who, then we can just follow up with that particular agent. But please drop Marietha an email. You've got her email address. She'll forward it on to me, and then we'll look at that particular student.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Let's see if there's another one or two questions, and then we can wrap it up for the night. Julene. Oh, Julene, I actually think your hand's been up quite a while. You're welcome to ask your question.
Hi. Hi, how are you?
Good, and you?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I was just wondering if there is a parent that's an essential worker and the child has like severe concentration learning disability problems. I don't think this might be a question that you would be able to answer, but maybe you do know what we can do to help a child like that. I saw one news article where they said a child was helped by a person next door that was a teacher with the education. Would we be able to help a child like that maybe or not? Like let them come to our house or go to their house or something like that?
Julene, unfortunately, that's not something that I can answer at all. impact is not, and schools is not perceived as essential services. So that is also the reason why we can't give permission for a learner to be helped anywhere, or it is definitely something that would be that the parents would need to deal with on a completely separate level. We've recently had people that needed to move between different provinces, and we couldn't even give a letter in that instance. So they need to take it up with their local authority, literally with the local police station, to see what will be allowed in that particular instance.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, Jeline. I see we have a couple of more questions. We'll run through some of them quickly. I see I've got 3 more down here. Let me take all 3 of them, one after the other, and I think then we'll wrap it up for the evening. Dilbar Ori, you are unmuted. You're welcome to ask your question.
Hi, thanks. Okay, the first question was also what someone just asked previously regarding the online material via e-reader. We also got the same response when we called into Impact. So, okay, I think we'll also just forward an email to Marietha and Info. And then another one, we've got a new student who just registered at the beginning of this month. We were wondering if the possibility of them receiving books from the warehouse, is a possibility on that.
Okay, so no, unfortunately, we are not allowed to distribute books at this stage. It's not seen as an essential services. We actually try to apply, but we're not allowed to deliver any books. But for learners registering or that registered now during the lockdown period, by default, we got approval to give them ebooks, regardless of whether we've published the books or not. We send through the list of the books that's purchased for that learner, which they will receive after lockdown is proved, and they by default get access within 48 hours to the ebook version.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Pleasure. I don't see your name, A2 Tutors, but A2 Tutors, you are unmuted. You're welcome to ask your question.
Evening, Susan, how are you?
Well, and you?
Well, thanks. Just in connection with regards to the postponement of the grade 12 examinations from term 1. So I noticed that there was a further email sent out stating that initially it was supposed to be the week of the 14th and then got postponed to the week of the 20th. This was for the life sciences, the business studies, and the geography tests. And now you've made mention a short while ago regarding the term 2 test as well, right? I see on the My Impact portal, it says here to upload the examination by the 30th of April. Okay, right? My great concern that is in terms of the authenticity of the examination itself, reason being learners that are going to be writing the examination at home with only the parents being as a guide, maybe they might be able to get or gain some sort of access in terms of a textbook or something to that effect, and maybe the mark might be a bit much higher, maybe 70–80% for that examination itself, because we don't have an actual invigilator like one of the tutors. So how do we basically try to fit this in where it is much more fair and a regulated examination, specifically for the term 1 exams and for the term 2 tests, example, the literature examinations?
Right. So just remember that the term 1 was also only tests. It's not examination yet. But the rules and regulations in terms of tests are far more lenient than what it is in the exam phase, when it's a June examination, a prelim, or a final examination. That's where the rules are very strict. In terms of term tests, the regulations are very relaxed, in the sense that any facilitator, even if it's the parent, can actually do the invigilation at that end. They don't have to be registered, and that is all within the Sakai rules and regulations. Where it does, where falls flat for the person that actually wants to misuse this opportunity is when they do write examinations. Because at the end of the day, the exams are weighted far more heavier than what a test would be. And at the end of the day, 75% of the grade 12 mark is actually that final examination. So if you break all the SPA up into small little bits, the test is a very, very tiny part of it. So yes, it is definitely a concern, but it is something that is in a normal kind of situation is a concern in any way. And this is why we've this year tried to establish at least a timetable to start working to even more compliance in terms of that. But for tests, you would have had that same problem. Examinations, and this is where the big debate is going on about, is for examinations where an invigilator is required. This is where we need guidance from Sakai to decide how and when that will happen, because invigilation needs to happen for that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, no, that does answer the question.
Perfect. Okay, I'm going to take three more questions. Hanifa, Rita, Jocelyn, and oh, I see a couple of hands has gone up, Rose and Ina, because we need to finish off in the next 10 minutes. So let's quickly see if we can get through these questions in 10 minutes. Hanifa, you are unmuted.
Yes, yeah, I actually did type the message and I got a reply. It was just regarding the electronic version for foundation phase books. So do I just get in touch with my email academics to get in touch with that?
TRA, your TRA. So tutor support at impact.co.za.
Okay, is that free or do I have to pay for that if the students are registered with Impact?
That would be free of charge because we own the content. We own that copyright.
Lovely. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Perfect. Rita, I'm unmuting Rita Hamilton. You're welcome to ask your question. Hi, Rita. Okay, Rita, we can't hear you on this side. So I'm going to move on. Since I'm a bit conscious of time, please send us your question in the question box. Jocelyn Pillay, you are unmuted. You're welcome to ask your question. Jocelyn, there we go.
Hi.
You are unmuted.
Thank you. Okay, my question is, I sent an email as well to Impact to find out about the EGD workbook. My problem is that one of my learners had the books. I mean, he's bought the books and stuff. We paid for it. It was done prior to the year beginning, and he's now misplaced the book. He's got a test that's coming up that was supposed to have been completed, and unfortunately, due to the lockdown, we couldn't complete the test. Now we need to complete the test, and I don't have access to the My Reader books as they did say that they would, but unfortunately they haven't. I called through to Impact, I emailed as well. What do I do in this case?
Jocelyn, is it you that needs access to the book, or is it the learner that needs access?
Okay, I need to give the child the test. So it's actually from the workbook.
So the concern here is if you haven't purchased the book, we can't give that as proof through to the publisher. So the publisher will not make available that book in the ebook format because that is not content that we have published. We don't own that content. And this is where the concern does come in.
Okay, will the learner not get it as well because he's paid for it and the tests are from the actual workbook?
Yeah, so the learner can request access. So the parents needs to send an email to info@impact, and let's then try and assist. I am concerned a bit that if he's purchased the book quite a while ago, that we're gonna have to give a really good motivation. But please send an email and let's take this offline.
Okay, no problem. We'll do so.
Okay, Justin.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Then let's see quickly. I know that there's a couple down here. Rose, you are unmuted.
Yes, how are you?
Good, and you, Rose?
I'm okay. Just have two questions. The first one is I have a learner who is repeating grade 10, and the parent wanted only to pay for assessments. How do they go about it? Because I actually told them to send an email to Impact, but they didn't get any response.
So if they've only purchased the assessment package, then they're going to have to purchase the books. So they're going to have to, before we would be able to give them books, we need to prove to the publisher that that learner has purchased the books. So they're going to have to upgrade their package to one where they have books.
Maybe you didn't get my question. The learner is repeating grade 10, and he's got material already from last year. So they only wanted assessments this year, yes, because when they purchase books.
I did misunderstand. Drop Marietha an email, please, because if you've already spoken to info, let me take it further. Marietha, my apologies. I'm sending many emails your way, but for these, please just forward them to myself.
Okay. Then the second one, if you apply to be an assessor, do you also have to, and you are approved, do you also have to apply to be an invigilator?
Yes. Assessor and invigilator is definitely two different ways of applying. They also, there's actually far more stringent regulations in terms of the assessor, but remember, an assessor is approved for a very particular subject that they are qualified to assess. Invigilator, there's a little bit of a test that the invigilators will do, so we are going to send that link to everyone that's applied to be an invigilator that you would need to do. That's part of the compliance process that Sakai wants from us to prove that the invigilator actually knows the rules for invigilating. So yes, please apply as an invigilator, even if you're registered as an assessor.
Okay, thank you so much, Susan.
Pleasure, Rose. Ina, you are unmuted. You're welcome to ask your question. Ina, I see on your side you are still muted, so if you can just unmute yourself and then you can ask your question. Okay, Ina, I hope you're going to, oh, there we go.
Hi, skus, nee, ek sit net en luister, ek wou nie iets gevra het nie, ek moes hom seker per ongeluk gedruk het.
Nee, geen probleem, ek haal hom af.
Dankie.
Antoinette Pretorius, you are unmuted. Antoinette, you're welcome to ask your question.
Hi, Susan. One last question. Tell me, how do we get access to guided learning?
Tutors don't have access at the moment to guided learning. Unfortunately, that will be only a bit later in the year. I know that the dev team is working on this, and the moment that happens, we'll actually launch it to the tutors with a bit of an info and training session. We were hoping to do that in April already, but unfortunately, due to some capacity issues, we had to move that date out a little bit.
Okay, and then tell me the learners, is there a link that they must follow?
Yes, there's a link that they follow to guided learning. There's actually a link on my Impact which they can click. But if they've got any trouble accessing it, please let them drop an email to info@impact, and then we can assist, because like we said just now, there's sometimes they do have a problem with using their ID number and their student number, because that is what usually must be used to get access to guided learning.
Okay, thank you very much, Susan. Have a great evening.
You too, bye. Okay, let's take Karen Archer. Karen, you are unmuted.
Hi, Suzanne. Thank you for taking this question. I just got two short ones. The first one is we tried to upload a second term assignment that the student in grade 12 had to do for life orientation, and on my system, my Impact system, it just said that it needed to be submitted manually. Is there going to be a specific date for that to be opened on the system, or must I just keep on checking every day? That's the first question. Yes, grade 12.
Okay. Yes, and the second question?
The second question is, unfortunately, we were still with an email that said that the last 3 postponements of the first term's test should be written in this week. So my grade 12 learner has already written the business studies and we have already uploaded it on the system. Is he now going to be penalized? Because I heard from another question that you answered that they referred to another email that was sent out where it states that it's supposed to be written only after the 21st in that week. Will my learner now be, penalized, or must we send an email to do request another test maybe?
No, the learner will not be penalized. We are aware of some that has actually continued and written that. They will definitely not get penalized, especially since this is a test series and not an exam series. So don't be too concerned about that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah. In terms of the other question, would you mind just sending that through to Marietha as well? Then we can look into that for you.
No problem, I'll send that through. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much. Okay, let's take Monique. I know that we've struggled a little while ago. Let's see if we can get you talking now. You are unmuted, Monique. For some reason, we can't hear Monique. Okay, I'm going to take Amanda as our... Oh, Monique, you there?
Hi, Desiree speaking. How are you?
Oh, fantastic. Hi, Monique.
Yes, my question is, I'm concerned after from the grade 4s, 5 and 6. The question is the tests that they need to. Some of our students don't have technology. In the sense of sending it, email it to them, and the parents can't print it.
Yeah, so the grade up until grade 9, there's a lot of flexibility in how the curriculum can be presented. There's no set timetable. Monique, I'm just going to mute you again. There's no set timetable for up until the end of grade 9. So work along with the parents, because I think in many instances you would have to be a bit flexible in terms of your original plan of when certain tests would need to be done. But up until the end of grade 9, you can move things around, and which would obviously come in very handy during this time. What we have done is normally the last day for any mark uploads is the 31st of January of the following academic year. So it would have been 31st of January 2021 for the upload of all grades from grade 4 to grade 9 marks. We have actually extended that a little bit. The date is now the end of February 2021, which we are pretty sure that even given the circumstances at the moment, that would be quite a reachable target. So one can work around those dates, do some of the work a little bit later on, try and encourage the kids that got their learner books with them, try and encourage them to keep on studying and that they need to keep up their work to not fall behind. Okay. We have actually run out of time. Thank you so much for this amazing contributions that you've given to all of our presenters, for the effort that you've put in. It's truly appreciated. We look forward to hearing more from our tutors in terms of what you are doing, how you're assisting your learners. Please share with one another. We might not have gotten to all of the questions. I see there's a number of questions that's been written in the question box as well. We will do our utmost best to answer that as well. And Marietha, if we can put this together and just send answers to all of our tutors afterwards. I'm not going to promise any one of you that this will go out tomorrow, but early next week we'll be able to send you answers on all the questions that you've asked, and we'll include those that's been asked tonight that I could not answer. Send those through to Marietha, and we'll put something comprehensive through to you. Thank you for joining us tonight. Have a good evening, stay safe and stay healthy. Bye-bye.